What's going on, everybody, and welcome back to Live Coding with rabbitwerks JavaScript. Thank you so much for tuning into the stream, and we're checking the VOD out after the fact. Last week we had some major issues going on with YouTube, and it dropped the stream and tried to start it again, and everybody in the viewers, nobody got a notification, and it just got all screwed up, and so it was just kind of a mess. So I do apologize about that, but you know, it is what it is, working with what you can work with, I guess. So last session we were basically starting to work on our deployment stuff, deploying our front end at least out to Netlify, and then we were going to work on our now.sh deployment of our node.js backend. And there was obviously the stream got cut short, but I was running into some issues after the fact too, because I wasn't able to deploy it properly. I wasn't deploying from Git, which was strange, and so I was doing some troubleshooting and figured out what I was missing. What's up, Redcliffe? How you doing, buddy? So, excuse me. So what we're gonna start with tonight is we're gonna pick up where we left off. We're gonna deploy our backend. I'll go through the process again, and then we'll update our database or whatever so that it matches our. So we're using our online cloud instance of MongoDB instead of just a local one. Obviously, the local one won't work on a deployed production app. So we'll go through that. So the one thing I want to start out with really quick is that we'll pull up now .sh in just a minute, and we'll actually start. I'll delete the project and we'll go through the whole process. But so the main thing that we need to deploy to now is we need this JSON file essentially, and this is going to tell it all the information that it needs to deploy our project, whether it's through GitHub or some other sort of repo management deployment system, or if we're just using the now CLI. This basically tells it what we want it to be called, obviously the name. If we want the alias to be set as something, you can also set that through their web GUI as well. A lot of cool stuff on there, which we'll take a look at as well. Tells you which version you want to use. We need this. This is important. So the builds property in the JSON file, it's going to tell us where the source file is to build, essentially where our index or app.js file is, and then what framework or service we want to use to build it. So obviously we're using, this is just a node project, and that's what we'll be using to deploy it. It's good getting my medicine for my wife. Cool, man. It sounds like good husband move right there. Props. And then it's okay, the last thing we got to look at really quick on here is the routes, and this is going to basically tell now.sh that anything, any route that gets typed into the web address. So if we were going to go to, you know, fsafs/backend.now.sh/ something or other, it's going to redirect straight. It's all those requests are going to redirect right to app.js and be handled inside of our application instead of just going to a static web page. So that's important to have too. So once we have this whole thing in there, basically this now.json file lives in the root directory of our server folder, or you know, project that you want to deploy to. And yeah, so that's basically all you need on that aspect. So let's head over to the now.sh website, and we'll take a look and see what's going on there. Let's see. Now.sh. So if I come here, and I'm already logged in, I'll go to my dashboard, and you can see right here, this is the backend that we have deployed or whatever. So you can see it says continuously deploy with Git integration. If you load this in from GitHub, which we can probably walk through as well, but I actually went about going through the now command line interface because it just seemed to work easier. I was getting errors when I was trying to connect to my project through GitHub, so I just went about it this way. But I think now that it's up and running, we have the JSON setting file properly set up that it will actually recognize the repo properly to be able to load into, be deployed properly from GitHub. So take a look at this. Let's see. Right. Let's actually delete this project. So I'm going to delete it. And we'll start over from scratch. So the way I'm going to do it right now is we're going to go through the command line interface on how to do it. So we'll go back into our code editor here. And now with this now.json file, we can actually use the CLI to deploy it straight from our local repo. So what we want to do first, we have to install that tool. So I already have it installed, but just if you don't, it's going to be npm I for install -g for global. So all your projects have access to this package globally. And then we're just going to do now. So npm install -g globally now is the package name. So we'll do that. It'll install pretty quick because it's just a command line interface or whatever. So the next thing you want to do, if you haven't logged into it, if you just install it, obviously you probably don't have it logged in yet. You can type in now login, and then that'll ask you for your email and password. We don't have to do that because I'm already logged in. And so now that we have our command line interface running, it is literally as simple as just running. I mean, just to get it basic deployment going with our now.json package, it's basically as simple as just running now --prod for production. And you hit enter. Now it's going to go through here. It's using project backend, saying that there's already an alias, so this will be invalid until we change it on the website. It might take a second finalizing, and then it should get right here. If something went wrong, you'll get an error right here, and you can actually go to the website and see where it went wrong. But so for now, we'll just load up the link and just make sure that it actually loaded properly. And look at that. Probably can't see it very well, but welcome to the FullStack authentication app. So if I go to auth, oh shoot, what's our routes? Let's see. Index app. I just want to get a different example. I don't know if I even have that in there anymore. Register. Okay, so we'll attempt to just go to the /register route just to see if we get the response message back to make sure that everything is actually there. So we'll do register. Not found. Register. Holy crap. Uh-oh. I think I might just be mistaken. Too many tabs. Router.get. Let's see, where's that middleware at? Auth. Oh, I see. Okay. Auth/register. Yeah. Yep. Okay, so that's right, because we're using the auth. This whole thing is our auth router, and so we have to type /auth/register to get to that route. So let's see. Oh yeah, and in case you haven't noticed, I don't have a camera today. It's actually kind of stuck in the garage at the moment. I'm probably gonna have to get a better camera. All right, welcome to the register route. So it's there and it's active and working. So now let's go through the process of connecting up our back and our front ends online. So if we go to the Netlify project, Netlify, log in, and then this, I believe, is what we have. Maybe not. Where is it? Alright, cool. So this is our app. Front end at least. What we need to do now is connect this with the back end. Excuse me. Alright, so what I need to do is actually just grab this URL right here. Not the auth register or whatever, but we'll just grab this whole URL. And then if we go back into our code editor, we're going to open up the client folder. And let's see, so it's in... I think it's going to be in our store. I think everything is handled. Yeah, so we have local URL. Yeah. Excuse me. So I think if we just do const remote URL equals, put that in there. I don't know if we have to add the port number. No, because it's not running at a certain port locally. It's just running on this server. And then if we switch out all of our local URL instances, so I think there's just the two here, registered and temp login. Yeah, looks like that's it. And we just swap those out for a remote URL. Guess we don't really need a console log in there at that point, but we can clean it up. Alright, so I think that should be good on that end. Let's just see really quick. App. Oh, so we need this right here to be changed too. So we can, I guess we could just hard code this, but we should, I mean, technically we should probably just set it as, set them into variables so we can more easily switch them out. Excuse me. I gotta clear my throat really quick. All right, cool. So I think that's all we need to do. So let's send this off to. Let's open up a new terminal instance here. Go to client. All right. So let's just push this to. We're gonna push it to our repo. Sorry, I got distracted. I was looking at the stream information. So we'll push it to our front end repo on GitHub, and then that actually should automatically trigger a redeployment through Netlify because we're actually integrated through that, which we can go through on now.sh as well. We can revert it over to that, so whenever we push to a certain branch, it will it'll run. Usually this dev branch that we're on. Okay, so let's just git add all, git commit -m changed backend URLs to remote addresses. I'm just kidding. Addresses. Okay. Do that. Git push. I'll send it up to the new branch or the dev branch. Alright, cool. Now let's head over to Netlify and see if that's triggering a deployment here. Let's see. Yep, so it looks like it just started here. We can take a look at it and see what's going on. Nice, gives you the deploy log or whatever from their remote terminal. Pretty neat. I like it. And I want to do a shout out to the YouTube channel, the Nerdy Dev. This guy has been putting in a ton of work, and super stoked to see his progress. So this channel right here looks like he is 706 subscribers. Pushes out videos constantly. So, and they're all pretty good. So I definitely recommend checking out this channel if you want to learn more, have another resource of a smaller like channel kind of thing, and definitely give him your support. So big ups on you, Pratik. Anyways, so I think that should be done deploying now. Deployment, 3 new files uploaded, build time, total deployment time. Head back. Done? Yes. Alright, so let's make sure it didn't break. So, okay. What we're gonna have to do now is actually, before we can actually test this, I think we'll have to relink our database to the Mongo Atlas. Let me just pull that up. We'll just do that first because it might just cause some errors, and I just want to make sure that it's working properly. Don't tell me all this stuff. Get started for free. I'm already here. What the heck? Atlas. MongoDB Atlas. Sign in. Dang it. Alright, so here we go. I don't know if there's any critical information right here. I don't really care, to be honest, because it's just a free account that I don't really have any information on. But so we're gonna switch over to what we'll do is here, I gotta make this bigger. I'll see it. Okay, so what we want to do is we gotta create a new cluster. So we could either do it here, or we could we gotta build a new project. So we'll do a new project. Project name is FSAFS. We'll just do FSAFSDB and click next. Let's see. We don't need to add any members because it's just me. And then we'll click create project. Okay, so now we will have our new context or whatever. So we can have multiple project contexts, and then each of those can have clusters. I think the free ones only allow free tier only allows one cluster per project. I could be wrong on that, but for our needs, we only need one anyways. So we'll do build a cluster. There we go. Okay, so yeah, smarter clusters for teams learning MongoDB. This is what we're going to use because obviously we're not going to pay 8 cents an hour. So we'll do that. We can choose our cloud provider and region. You can either do AWS, Google Platform, Cloud Platform, or Microsoft Azure. They just have different, it's just different server locations, really. That doesn't make that big of a deal. I think I went with the Google Cloud Platform because they had Iowa Central, and that was the closest one to my location. So we'll go with that one, and you can choose this stuff, but you don't. This is where you're gonna start getting charged for money, free forever. So if you want to like see paid cluster solutions and stuff like that, cluster 0, we'll just name it data user DB, just like that. Create cluster. Okay, so now we have our cluster being created. Might take a couple minutes. All right, let's see. What was I gonna do? Let's check out. Let's go back to now really quick and see if we can. Well, I guess we don't really need to alias at all because it's already got the URL that we want. But I do want to alias this or change the customized URL because that doesn't look nice. So overview. Excuse me. Site settings. We can go down here. Site details. What is it? Domain management, add custom domain. What the heck? What was it under? Identity. No. Deploys. Like link custom domains to it, but that's not what I want to do. Okay, so this is up now. So sorry, I'm just checking some stuff over on my stream information, just making sure everything's working properly. Give me 1 second. Okay, so we have our cluster built up. So now we need to get our connect information. I'm gonna bring my thing over here just in case. Okay, so you'll have to go through a couple prompts. Let's see if we can show that again really quick. Connect. Okay, so if we look at this, it's gonna ask you if you want to whitelist a connection IP address. If you want to whitelist any IPs, you can do that. I just whitelisted my own IP address, so it doesn't have any issues when I ping it, essentially. Excuse me. And then we want to create a MongoDB user for this cluster or whatever, so you can do that automatically. And sorry, You can do that automatically with your MongoDB credentials. It'll autofill it, and then once you're done with that, you're ready to choose a connection method. And let's see, what do we want to do? So connect your application is the one we want. I'm gonna pull it over here just again. Oh, okay, cool. So it doesn't show it right here, but I'll have to type it in the code. So at that point, I'll hide my screen or whatever. So driver version that you want to do, Node.js 3.0 or later. That doesn't really matter. You can leave that the same. Connection string only. If you want to see the whole thing, it's gonna look like this. It gives you what you want, or example or whatever. I think we'll be able to get away with just using the different URL. So we'll try that and see what happens. And then it says right here, replace password with the password for the rabbitwerks user or your user or whatever. So that's how you would get that. Alright, so let's go back into here, and if we go out of the client into the server, we want to do connection.js. Monk. Oh yeah, that's right. You're using Monk to interface with Mongo. So right here, let me just take a look really quick. Repository. Don't have any databases on that one. Where's the one that I had a database on? Excuse me. Nothing pushed to that. Okay, well, we'll just have to try it. I can't seem... Breaking. Why is thing breaking always? Alright, let's see. So... Okay, so I'm gonna try that. I'll put my password in here on this side and see what happens. I think since we're using Monk, we don't have to do the whole Mongo client setup or whatever. I think it should work all the same. Thanks for tuning into the stream. Say what up in the chat. Love to hear from you. Let me know if I'm screwing up. Okay, so let's push this. We don't need this file anymore, open anymore. So I have the backend, or the whatever it's called, database switched over, and let's push that and see what happens here. So get okay. Let's see what happens here. we don't actually need, well, I need to actually run through the command line now and redeploy it through the command line using now, because it's not, even though we pushed it to GitHub, it's not. Wait, actually, I should actually probably not push that to GitHub if it's got my password in it. Shoot. Although it's not like I really care, like whatever. I'll fix it at some point or after the stream or whatever. But I want to get this deployed now. So we'll run now -- production to run production or make it build. Okay, that's finished. See what happens now. All right, no errors. So if we give this a refresh, now what is it gonna do? So if we try to register, fill out our credentials. All right, what happened now? Oh shoot! Need to update cores on the front end. Oh wait, oh no, on the back end to accept requests coming from this origin right here. So let's see. That should be in app.js and cores. Okay, so origin. This is where we need to change it out to. We could say that or our front end address. So that way it could accept requests from local and the remote address. I'm gonna copy this and paste it into there like so. Push that to GitHub, let it rebuild, git add. Oh wait, no, this is the backend. So I can just run now. I can deploy it through the now command line again. And it should accept requests from that because we're adding it into the cores options now as an acceptable URL to receive requests from. And I don't know, just an FYI, I am back on Instagram, kind of, and back on Twitter just to kind of keep people up to date on what's going on with the streams and the content and stuff like that. So if you do want to follow, make sure to check that out. What is it? Twitter.com/rabbitwerks.js and then Instagram.com/rabbitwerks.js. So if you want to check that stuff out, you might get some more cool contents and whatnot. So I don't know. We'll see if that lasts, but I'm trying to keep it going, but I'm just not a huge fan of social media. Okay, so that should be good to go now, and let's go back up here. We can give this guy a refresh. See, let's try this one more time. Register. We need to refresh it. What is it doing? Oh, it's as a value localhost 8080 is not equal. Okay, so let's see here. I wonder if you can do that. I don't know if you'll be able to. Maybe you have to put it in an array. Try that. I might have to just look really quick. I should probably do that instead of Run around like a goofball. Let's see. Cores. Cores npm. Look at this. Let's look at the documentation. For a single route for all requests, I'll use cores, but the configured cores example. Okay, whitelist. So I guess you could do it that way. I wonder if we can just get away with putting an array in there instead of like running a function to check if it matches one of the items in the array. Oh my god. Okay, let's see. Let's try that. Run a callback function whenever possible. Not really. Okay, so that's done now. Our front end, where is it? Here. That work? Not getting any errors? No errors. Doesn't look like it. Okay. All fields are required, so let's try this again. Rabbitwerks. 1, 2, 3. ASD 1, 2, 3. Free flight request. I don't know what that's about. See if we can Google it. Here. Cool. So blah 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 blah. If you're running into a cores issue, there's several ways to fix this. Turn off cores. Plug in for your browser. Use a proxy. Do the necessary setup for your server. This is more a factor of the web service you've loaded. Trying to accept API.service URL server URL.com from localhost. This is the exact definition for cross domain request. Oh, this is like not This is not helpful at all. If only I had a pound for every time someone asked this question. Well, explain the answer then in simple terms instead of just being like, read this documentation. What a jerk. God, Stack Overflow sucks. Um, hmm. Take a look at the front end code really quick. Can't hear me? My mic is cutting out. Sorry, I'm talking quietly. Just thinking out loud a little bit. Okay, so this error is coming from register. You need to take a look at that. Wrong one, always. Store, or actually it's in, should be in register.vue. Thanks for tuning into the stream, Zeph. Alright, let's see here. Fetch request should be, oh, user action. So that's coming from, okay, so store, see here, content type, headers. So we need to add those. Oops. The accept, what is it? Accept, close that. Allow control or access control allow origin. We have to set, let's try setting that to the backend server address. So access control allow origin, do it right here. Okay. Excuse me. Let's see. Where's the code? There it is. Where's the docs that I was looking at? Not that, but this one. And okay, so that actually might solve our issue. So let me just send this off to Netlify. All right, so if we wait for that to redeploy. What's up, Andrew? How you doing, buddy? It's been a minute. Failed. This one. Site is finished. Okay, let's take a look. Selves refresh here. Oh, verify. I gotta do that on verify too. All right, let's see. Let's go to, that's in app.vue. So let's copy this whole line. See if that gives us what we want. That's what a minute means. You goon. Yeah, well, we ran into each other on that dude's stream, Prime again or whatever. The guy that works for Netflix, and he's like on cocaine and coding with like 15,000 lines per second. Pretty cool stuff. Well, we might as well just put that on the login URL as well, because it's probably going to give us the same error. All right, let's try that. So git add all. Oop. Yeah. Git push. How you been, man? How's life? Yeah, that guy's nuts. He's a really good coder. Pretty entertaining to watch, too. Did it deploy? Been good. Been really busy. Haven't been able to really focus on the channel as much as I'd like to, but what are you gonna do? Happens. Published. Okay, so it's published, and that didn't fix it. Am I missing something else? Let's see. Origin. Let me see. Maybe I just need to get rid of that array and just use the single URL. Alright, I'm gonna use the restroom really quick. We'll be back in just a second. Okay, so let's see. Let's take a look and see what that did. If it did anything at all, but we'll see. There we go. What? Oh, there's a slash there. God dang it. Is that really gonna make that big of a difference? My lord. Okay. Try again. All right. Let's see what it does now. Back. Forward. Refresh. Oh my god. No errors. Yes. Yes. Okay, let's see if this works. Oh, and there it is. Never mind. What the hell is that? Jeez Louise. Cores is just the worst frickin' thing to work with if you aren't well versed in it. Has been blocked by core policy headers present on the requested resource. If an opaque response serves your needs, the request mode to no cores to fetch the blah 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 blah. What? Oh, Jesus. It's always something. Um. I actually thought we figured it out there. Hmm. All right, so let's see. We need to set the response. I think I need to change that out. Oops, not that. Let's see. Change out this for set the response header on that. Create token send response. Should be good on that. And then verify right here. So, oops. So we can just copy this whole line in to there. Just hit the set the header to specify what server we can send it back to. Let's delete this slash just in case, because I know that's gonna throw an error because it's not exactly the same. Let's see. What's next? Let's give this a shot. Okay, so I believe that's all of them, except, I mean, this, which we don't really have anything for our API. It's just an example. Excuse me. All right, cool. So that should be all that we need to add that information in there. So let me just throw this up to now.sh one more time and see what happens. All right, so we have that new rendition up on now. Let's see what happens now. Refresh. Last time it threw an error after a couple seconds, so let's not jump the gun. Yeah, see, it's still not. Stupid, I hate cores. Oh, geez Louise. Alright, well, I'm not going to waste any more time on this. I'll have to figure it out. Basically, once we get the cores thing figured out, then it should work. You know, it should just work. Famous last words. Let's just try and send a login request really quick. The only projects I've ever uploaded or deployed have been between these two sites have been without cores enabled or whatever, so it's been a little bit easier. And then we had like a cores adder like addition thing because it was just wasn't working. So I'm gonna look into this some more because obviously cores is very complex and tricky. You would think it would just work, but it doesn't because there's so many minute details into it. But hopefully this whole process has kind of showed you a little bit more of like the steps into like deploying both of them. It's kind of tricky, obviously, with the cores thing. If I wasn't struggling with the cores issue, then this would probably be working right now. But the fact that I'm not very versed in cores because it's kind of tricky to wrap your head around and know what exactly you need to do to change to make it work. I'll definitely do some research over the next week on it and brush up on my skills and try and do some troubleshooting and stuff and bring the answer to us next week. I don't know. I mean, we don't really necessarily need to do mobile stuff at this point. I think if we can just get this working and deployed, then that's good and we can move on to something else. I do really want to do stream and or maybe just a video series on using my Flexbox utility library, which would be a lot of fun because I use that in like all of my projects now, and I know that it can be kind of like off-putting to people that aren't trying to use like my own personal like CSS package, but it makes development a lot easier as far as using Flexbox because you can throw in the classes and stuff without having to like write out full CSS for it. So it definitely helps with development speed and whatnot. It'll be cool to go through that, and then we'll probably start working. We'll probably switch gears and maybe do some React stuff going forward for a little bit and see how that whole thing plays out. I think it'd be fun. So, okay. That being said, I'm going to tune out for the night. I'm going to get this figured out. We got at least the project, both ends, both front and back end deployed. We got our MongoDB instance up and running remotely. And yeah, we're just slowly but surely plugging along on this. And then once we're done with this, I'll have CJ from Coding Garden come through and we'll do a code review and see what he thinks and all that good stuff, because this project is essentially based on his series, so it'll be super cool, which the link is in the description if you want to check out that playlist. But yeah, it'll be cool to have him on here. Maybe get some new members, some new subscribers to the channel, which would be a lot of fun to see. And without any more to do, I am going to peace out. So thank you so much for tuning in to Live Coding with Rabbitwerks JavaScript. My name is Sean. It has been a pleasure to have you with me this evening or tuning in after the fact. We'll get back on it next week, same time. I'm going to try and get some videos, some passive videos starting to upload, but I've just been really busy, so it's been hard to actually just focus on coding in general. But yeah, thank you so much again, and I think that's going to do it. So no matter where you are in the world, have an awesome day, have an awesome night. Remember to stay awesome and keep coding, and we'll catch you on the flip side. Rabbitwerks out.